I'm Phil Harris from the Jax Ranger Show. This is the MLR Championship Shield, and you're watching Let Freedom Ring, baby. Woo! Huzzah!
Welcome to Let Freedom Ring for the Survivor Series Extravaganza live stream. So basically, I thought this was the 4th annual one. Apparently, I've only done this twice. So if I misled any of the audience, I apologize. This is only the 2nd year. We usually do a WrestleMania show. We do a Royal Rumble show. What am I missing here? We sometimes do a SummerSlam. Justin, you've been on that, but
yeah, SummerSlam.
My 2 guests here, we have Justin Del Rio from Nerds of Wrestling, the creator of Nerds of Wrestling here. Justin, how you been?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. It's been a while.
Yeah, no, good to have you on the stream tonight because it's been a while since we've had a chance to be live together and connecting. Yeah. So awesome to see you. You look good, brother. Growing in growing in the beard for is this the No Shave November thing?
No, I just want to grow it in. This is like just why not, you know.
Okay, all right. And we got KPG Kendall on the stream here, and he has been the host of the Faction Cast podcast. I think he might have a new one on the Sidelines podcast. Kendall, how are you?
Good. It was Faction Cast at first. Now I flipped it into On the Sidelines podcast. Make sure you go check that out. Check out Floor Slapper Sports. They're back. Used to be the Fnag Network, which used to be, I'm not getting into all that, but Floor Slapper Sports with Tim King. I am the head writer of their website. So make sure to read everything that's going to be on the website because I am the head writer. So, wanted to plug that real quick.
Absolutely.
I got a shit ton of other things to plug, but it's going to take me like 10 minutes. I'm not going to take up your 10 minutes talking about that. So,
we'll go over where to find you at the end. But yeah, no, Survivor Series tomorrow. It used to be the Thanksgiving Eve tradition. Then it was the Sunday before Thanksgiving, and now it is the Sunday after, which I did prefer. It's Saturday. I'm sorry. I'm getting confused. A lot of pay-per-views were not, I grew up, they were always on Sundays, and now they're doing the Saturday thing, which I prefer, to be honest.
Me too. Honestly, yeah. Same.
Real quick, me and Justin, I think was the first time we met in person was last year at Survivor Series.
In Boston.
In Boston, yeah. Hard to believe that was a year ago.
Yo, it's crazy. What a show, man. It's kind of surreal to me that I was actually at War Games in Boston at the TD Garden. Like, if that's not a flex, I don't know what it is. I mean, it was so cool to be there in person, especially at the Garden, man, at the TD. So that was a bucket list for sure.
Absolutely unbelievable. When we get into like WWE's top 10 here, that's going to be mentioned here. So we saw kind of history there because they had done the War Games on NXT. Obviously, that was a WCW event. I love that it's implemented into Survivor Series now too.
If I'm not mistaken, that was the first official War Games on the main roster in this modern era. So that was pretty cool. We got to be there for that.
No, absolutely. And so much, the bloodline was so hot last year and they, still kind of are in some degrees, but
some degree. Yeah. Some way.
But I want to get into this, guys. First question. Just want to know, because we're going to talk about these top 10 moments WWE came up with, but Kendall, what was your first experience? What was the first Survivor Series that you saw?
First Survivor Series I saw was with the GOAT. Yes, I said GOAT, Randy Orton. Team SmackDown versus Team Raw. It was when he eliminated Shawn Michaels last. I don't know which year. I think it was was it 05, 04?
Keep going. I gotta keep remembering. What happened at the end?
It was Team Raw, which is Big Show, Kane, Bobby Lashley, JBL, and I think no, it wasn't JBL. Fuck. Big Show, Kane, Batista. No, that was SmackDown. Fuck. I can't remember. I can't remember. All I know is he eliminated Shawn Michaels at the end, and everybody on Team SmackDown jumped on Big Show to get the pin. That's the only thing I remember. and the Undertaker came out at the end.
Oh
That's
five,
'05,
I
yeah.
remember those three
05.
things. The
oh
Undertaker
five.
came out at the end. So
Because
that was the
Yeah.
first Survivor Series I witnessed.
I think because before that, didn't Undertaker like burn him in the casket and he returned?
Yeah, I
Uh,
think.
yeah, they had a lot going on with the Orton Undertaker stuff. Yeah, I think you're right. He did burn him, and it was one of those times Undertaker came back, and everybody was surprised because he's had
Yeah,
a million returns.
it was 04, 05, one of those years. If anybody knows in the comment section that's watching, comment. But 05, okay.
Yeah, I think it was '05 because I remember I don't know if I watched it live. I was in college at the time, and we didn't order a lot of pay-per-views in college.
Because that year, Undertaker wrestled Randy Orton at WrestleMania 21. Obviously, Taker won, and then SummerSlam they wrestled again, and Randy Orton beat him. And then they kept having the whole storyline go on with everything. So
Yeah, yeah. So Justin, what was the first year? Now, again, you guys, we kind of got three different generations going here. I was,
yeah,
a little Hulkamaniac. Justin, you were part of C Nation. But what was your first experience with watching Survivor Series?
it's funny because I discovered wrestling in like 2000. I always knew about WWE, but I discovered it like in '06 when I was like in middle school. That's when I got like heavily into it. Like you said, excuse me, the C Nation era, Ruthless Aggression era, around that time. So 2006, I discovered it. It's funny because I'm looking at the DVD right now in my DVD shelf. I discovered Survivor Series through the New and Approved DX DVD when they had
Oh yeah,
one of the matches on there, Survivor Series, and it was the traditional tag team match. And I was like, oh, what's Survivor Series? So again, I mean, I knew some pay-per-views, but I didn't know what the big four were. I just knew WrestleMania and maybe SummerSlam. I didn't realize Survivor Series was like one of the big four. So yeah, '06 was the first time I discovered Survivor Series. I forgot who was in that match. It was DX, the Hardys.
CM Punk, I believe, was with
CM Punk
DX.
was I
Yeah.
believe in there. All I remember was I remember Shawn Michaels eliminated Mike Knox, and Shawn Michaels goes to Triple H and goes, "Who was that guy?"
Yeah.
And so that was when DX was like, obviously not as hot, not as big as they were in the '90s, but for the time in '06, during that time,
Yeah.
DX was something
Shout
else.
out to Shawn Michaels, Book of the Year for
Right,
NXT.
hundred
Moving
percent.
on. I'm not going to get into that,
But
but
yeah, we'll
Survivor Series.
get to there soon. But definitely 2006 was when I discovered Survivor Series, and it was that's all she wrote.
Yeah, that was a much lighter DX, right? That was like the PG rated DX because Shawn Michaels was a born again Christian at that point.
But he was they were so funny as hell, man. They were hilarious.
Oh yeah.
They were so funny. Like obviously, like you said, the born again Christian, but dude, the stuff they were doing, it was so funny.
No, I got it.
You can't
I,
get it, no.
I gotta just say that when they impersonated Shane and Vince, that was awesome.
That was great. Oh,
Yeah.
hilarious. Every week, at that time going in to Raw, like you were excited for DX. Like I remember tickets were impossible to get because DX was like selling out every week. It was insane.
Yeah, no, it was a good reunion because they had feuded for a while, and the fans really wanted to see that. They knew they were older, not they plenty of years left in the tank,
Oh,
but
100%.
but it was good to see them reunite after feuding for so long. Because I know when Shawn Michaels came back, the one guy he trusted to wrestle was his best friend Triple H.
Right.
Um, and I have to say, my first experience with Survivor Series, I'm gonna mess. I know every time I want to say SummerSlam, I always do that, but 1991 for me, when I was 7 years old, was the first one I ever saw, and I saw Brian Zane on Wrestling with Regret, and I didn't click on it, saying one of the worst Survivor Series ever was '91, and it's one of my favorites. Maybe it's because the first one, but I cried my eyes out when the Undertaker. I was scared to death of the Undertaker when I was 7 years old. Absolutely, he's
I'm
a
sure everybody
frightening
was.
man at that
Right.
at that point. And I was a little Hulkamaniac, and Hulk Hogan didn't lose. So I didn't think Hulk Hogan could lose. Undertaker, I hated Ric Flair for years after that because he helped the Undertaker beat him. But even the tag matches were great. I remember, I think the main event it was like the Boss Man and LOD versus Natural Disasters, and maybe like so many people got hurt, and maybe it was just I don't remember who was with the Natural Disasters in the main event as their tag partner, but pretty star-studded looking back. A lot of Hall of Famers at the '91 Survivor Series, but the thing that always will stand out was it the Mountie and Natural Disasters. That's what it must have been because Bossman and Mountie were feuding pretty rugged at that point. But yeah, no, a lot of good some Survivor Series that have happened over the years. Now WWE has made a list, and they did a top 25. Now
It's
I was sent.
sorry to cut you off, Dan.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say when you were mentioning your favorite Survivor Series that you said, I believe you said that 91 was the worst Survivor Series.
According to Brian Zane of Wrestling with Regret, I saw the thumbnail.
No, 100%. I mean, like the worst Survivor Series could be your favorite. I mean, the worst WrestleMania. Well, I love WrestleMania 17, but the worst ranked WrestleMania could be my favorite one. I'm like, you like it. That's you. And it's crazy to think
Absolutely.
that, it's crazy. I didn't know 91 was ranked the worst one.
Well, it was by Brian Zane. I don't know if WWE, but he put like one of the worst. And a lot of people hate WrestleMania 9. I love WrestleMania 9. But
That
again,
that was in Hartford. No, that wasn't in Hartford. That was at
Caesar's Palace.
in
Yeah.
Vegas. Yeah,
And
that was the worst one. That sucked.
I loved it
And I
as a
wasn't even
kid. I
alive
mean,
at the time.
I loved Hulk Hogan, and I'm not gonna, Bret Hart and Hulk Hogan growing up. That was like who you liked. That's
Right.
just what the headliners were. And Hulk coming back and being Yokozuna as a second grader, I was going nuts. But
Right.
I want to get into this list here. So WWE, and I got this list from Eli Myers. So full disclosure, I didn't
Shout out
check
to
it.
Eli.
Shout out to Eli. So if there's any discrepancies or anything not correct here, blame it on Eli because we didn't check it.
Blame it on Eli.
But coming in at number 10, I thought this was interesting, and I'm gonna get your guys' opinions on it. We got Team Bianca wins 2022 War Games. Kendall, I'll start with you. Thoughts on that? Where do you think this is something that's deserving of such a high ranking?
No, especially since they're doing the same thing this year. They're doing the exact same thing. Team Damage Control versus Team Bianca. Last member of Team Bianca was Becky. So no, doesn't deserve to be 10. So especially they're doing the same thing a year later, and it was a good match, but I don't think it deserves to be top 10. Talking about Survivor Series. Come on, no.
Yeah, let me just run through who. So I was there and I don't remember. Yeah, who was in it?
It was a year ago. It's crazy because
Yeah.
Kendall just said it's the same exact thing, and it is. You kind of forget that Damage Control was in it last year too, and I completely forgot about that. It's like, again, it wasn't that long ago. It was a year ago. But being there, yeah, we were there, but you don't remember every single thing that happened. Like, oh, you were there, okay, but I don't remember every single thing.
I don't either. I just saw that on Twitter. It was like Team Bianca versus Team Damage Control. Last member of Team Bianca is Becky, and I was like, that did happen last week, didn't it?
And I love Becky. I love Becky. She's great. She's one of my favorites. But I mean, am I excited to see her in War Games again? No, not really. I mean, I just wish it was someone else. I wish it was Sasha last year, man.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at Team Belair as Bianca, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Mia Yim and Becky Lynch. So there's.
I'm happy to see Kairi Sane in it this year, though. I love Kairi.
Yeah, it is wild. I guess they haven't really come up with another women's stable. I mean, honestly, for me, this is not a top 10. If I was at the show and I didn't really remember it. I mean, I remember more just meeting, Nerds Wrestling guys like you, Dylan, and Johnny.
Yeah.
And obviously the main event was just
top tier,
unreal. And we'll talk about that. But yeah, I think 10 is really generous, and I understand. Yeah, like you want to get War Games on the list, but it was only a year ago. This is not something I think that I'll be remembering.
20 years from now. I mean, they're giving Bianca her flowers. I mean, and which she does deserve. Um, but no, this is nothing against Bianca. It's just the moment. That moment doesn't really scream top 10 Survivor Series moments. I mean, a
No.
moment for some people, but again, I'm definitely giving Bianca her flowers. So I mean, I wouldn't put this in top 10, but
No, and this is again WWE, and I don't know if they did a
yeah.
poll. I don't know the details. Again, Eli Meyer. So if anybody's fact checking this list came strictly from Eli. Throwing throwing him under the bus if it's wrong, but
You will.
yeah, kind of high. So I want to go to number 9. We're going to take it back to 2003. Vince McMahon and
God.
Undertaker. Vince McMahon buries the Undertaker. I believe it was a buried alive match. Yeah.
Do not remember that. To be honest,
Kendall.
it was a long time ago. Not long, but it's been a while since I've seen that match.
Yeah, Kendall. Thoughts? Good place to rank. Would you have it there? What are your thoughts on this?
Vince and his many burials, literally and figuratively. But isn't that a good place to rank? I guess because you have two of the biggest names. Whether you want to admit it or not, Vince McMahon is the reason why we're all watching wrestling, and the Undertaker is the reason why a lot of people are watching wrestling as well. Probably the second or third biggest star behind Stone Cold and Hulk Hogan. So just off of that alone, yes, I would rank that at the bottom half of the top 10. Plus, it set up Kane and The Undertaker for that following year's WrestleMania.
Yes, I'm going to second that. It set up a great return because they wanted to get rid of the American Badass Dead Evil character, bring back the Dead Man, even though he kind of still dressed like that character. But yeah, it's long-term planning. We love to see that, right? Something going to Survivor Series that gets the payoff at WrestleMania. So,
Long-term storytelling. Yep.
for me, not something I cared all that much about. But again, I wasn't like 2003. I was like in and out, to be honest. That was like one of the only years I was kind of like that. So it's not something that stands out to me. But again, I didn't watch it live, so that could impact it. But
Right.
Justin, how do you feel about this ranking? It's just
I mean, I'm just gonna go with what Kendall said. It was good. It built the story for leading into WrestleMania 20 for Kane and Undertaker. So it obviously that story did its job for the next year's WrestleMania.
No, absolutely. So yeah, a big payoff. I love, a lot of times they do that with the Undertaker. Let's bury him alive again and reboot him. Coming in number 8, we have Corporate Rock wins the Deadly Games. I'll start with this. Yes, this is a top 10 moment for me. I was in 8th grade when this happened.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
yeah, Stone Cold.
8th grade.
I was in 8th grade. I'm an old man.
Jesus.
Tonight was my 20-year reunion for high school, but I just didn't want to go.
Oh, congratulations. Well,
Yeah, well, it would have been June. Yeah, but no. So for this particular, this was amazing. At the end of this pay-per-view, now at this point, I'm 14. I'm kind of a smark at that point, right? I read all the dirt sheets,
right.
and I was like, they got us. All the signs pointed to The Rock doing this, right? We had booed him forever. He just started doing this baby face thing against, the corporation. And you think this tournament's going to be, Austin getting his title back, which it didn't become that. And then you get to the finals and you knew The Rock was going to win. You were like, wow, The Rock's going to win the title because you didn't think they'd ever put it on Foley. And they would do that like 2 months later. But I didn't think the swerve was in. Did not see the swerve coming. That was one time, and I remember the pay-per-view ending, and this is before you could text your friends. I was just sitting there with my brothers and was like, they got me. They actually got me. I didn't see that coming, and I should have seen it miles away, but I just didn't. And I said even in 8th grade, I was like, I can't believe I didn't see it coming because, again, this is where I'm starting to turn to that smart mark as a kid, right? I think I
Right.
know better than what's going on, and they got me. But yeah, Justin, what do you think?
What you said, I honestly don't remember that at all. It's crazy because I should remember that, but it's crazy. What you said, man.
Kendall?
Oh, Dwayne, the movie star. I didn't know he wrestled. Dwayne Johnson wrestled. I didn't know that.
Wait,
Y'all really shocking me. I thought he did movies. Just
The Rock
kidding.
wrestles? I didn't know The Rock wrestled.
But
Yeah.
um, I remember this. I remember the moment, not the match. So the moment, like I said, y'all were booing him, and this is the character change he needed. So he went on to do movies. No, that was Dwayne Johnson. This is The Rock. So two different people.
And this is like prime rock after like the Nation of Domination, and he had been fighting the corporation and then to join it. Absolutely brilliant. And one thing I'm leaving out to this story was this is 1 year after the screw job, and they finished the match in the exact same fashion, where he actually this is where the Rock starts doing the sharpshooter.
Yeah,
Because if you know, the Rock would do the sharpshooter quite a bit,
every
and he
so often,
puts
right?
he puts in it on McFoley, and they ring the bell and they crown him the champ. Because Vince wanted to establish, like, I did this last year. This was the Vince McMahon character that screwed Bret Hart, and he wanted you to just believe that he was this jerk. And honestly, this is like prime wrestling. '98 to me is one of the best years of wrestling ever. I'm not saying it was the best. I'm not one of those people that needs bangers. It wasn't a banger year, but storytelling in the main event, there's some bad storytelling in the Attitude Era, but in the main event wise, this was absolutely incredible. And this is a point too. I'm taping Raw every Monday, and I'm rewatching it, on Saturdays because it was that good.
Right.
Um, all right, that's gonna take us number 7, and I like this moment too. I really do.
This is
Team Cena,
2014.
2014. Team Cena defeats the Authority. We all watched this. I'd have to assume live.
Yeah, dude. So, if I may go first, I
Sure.
did this one. So, I commented on Twitter yesterday, and it's funny because a year ago yesterday, this pay per view happened. Sting made his iconic debut at the end. You know, attacking Triple H. Obviously, we I feel like everybody knew Sting was gonna make his debut, but like
I had no idea. None.
I I didn't either. No, I didn't either. But it's like I don't know. Looking back, anyway, that's besides the point. So this pay per view holds a special place in my heart, and in my opinion, who's ever watching could disagree with me. That's fine. I feel like, in my opinion, this was the best traditional Survivor Series tag team match in the 2010 era. You had a story going into it. You had people going over you. I mean, Dolph Ziggler was the sole survivor of that match, and he did excellent. Even looking back almost 10 years later, that was a good freaking match with everything. Again, I love that story so much. You literally had Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler put on like a 10-minute 5-star match. Like their match, like them when they were the last two in the ring, they put on such a clinic. Like their match was excellent. And yes, I feel like this should be lower. I feel like this should be at least 5, not 7, if not 4, at least top 4 in my opinion. But Team Cena defeating the Authority in 2014 was honestly chef's kiss. Beautiful, beautiful match. The whole pay per view itself was great. But this is something that if you ask, what do you remember from Survivor Series 2014? People are gonna say the Authority, Team Cena, Dolph Ziggler being the sole survivor, Sting making his debut at the end of that match. That's right there, perfect.
The rewatchability of this match is high.
Oh, dude, I go back. I think I watched. I think I watched that match alone at least maybe like 30 times. Like it's great.
Kendall, thoughts?
Yeah, storytelling. You had everything going into it with Cena, feuding with the Authority. You know, Seth Rollins, the most over. I'm gonna stand by this. He was overrated then. He was overrated now. Um, But keeping my feelings to the side, it was a good match. Okay. Um, can't believe it's almost 10 years ago. Jesus Christ. Um, but like you said, Dolph Ziggler came back down 3-1. He beat, Brody Lee. R.I.P. to him. He beat Seth and whoever
Kane,
the fuck, right?
Kane, Kane, Kane.
And
Kane. Yeah.
Big Show turned heel for the 90th time
That
in that match.
we don't talk about
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
I actually didn't have a
And
problem
the
with that.
sky is blue. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Sting debuted, and the Authority was quote unquote out of power for like a fucking month. I didn't mean to
Like
cuss.
a week. It was like a
Sorry, I
week.
can't cuss on your channel, but they were out of power
Family
for like a
friendly.
month. Okay, so Jesus Christ.
Full
Yeah.
full disclosure though, the Authority Seth Rollins was my favorite Seth Rollins. Sure, I love Seth Rollins now. He's great. He's not as I don't like him as much as I used to. Not as obviously, Dylan. Shout out to Dylan. That's his boy. But if you had to, hey, which version of Randy Orton do you like? I'm gonna tell you. Oh, my favorite version of Randy Orton was a Legend Killer. Same thing I'm gonna tell you with Seth Rollins. My favorite Seth Rollins version was the Authority when he turned on the Shield back in 2014. That whole 6-7 months leading into WrestleMania when he cashed in, that was my favorite Seth Rollins. That was my favorite Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I think the turn on the Shield is the ascension of Seth Rollins being just a guy in the Shield, which was very over,
Being overrated,
to
overrated.
well, to his ascension to future Hall of Famer. Is around this time.
I will admit he is a
Uh,
Hall of Famer, but in my opinion, he's just overrated. So,
There's a lot of wrestlers that are overrated. I mean, I feel like Seth
yeah,
Rollins is not.
but
but
Seth,
everybody,
okay,
some people
one of
like
the reasons why,
Coke, some people like Pepsi.
not to cut you off, but the reason why I think he's overrated is because last year, or was it this year? I don't really remember. He said in the interview, "I was never the guy. I was always playing second fiddle to Roman," which I call complete BS on. Right? How he said he never got a chance to be the guy. Yes, you have. Oh, Cody came in and stole all my shine. Why can't I be in Cody's position? You have been in Cody's position. You
Yeah, I'm not.
have been there. You have been the guy. So why
He's
are you
yeah.
complaining?
Well,
It's like he feels like he deserves more than what he got. Like
I mean,
and
I'm
he's
not gonna.
never been the guy, which he has.
he
So
gets people. He gets people talking. I mean, it's. I mean, I think that's him bringing that up is almost irrelevant because I think the fans feel a certain way about him. I mean, I think he connects with the audience. I think the audience is into Seth Rollins. But getting back to this moment, you don't even talk about that Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler were knocked out for like 10 minutes, right? They didn't move for 10 minutes.
They were chilling. They were chilling. They were tired.
You have to go past belief, for that one. But honestly, this is one of the best debuts because there was no dirt sheet on this. Anybody that's and if I'm wrong, I read the dirt sheets.
I feel like I saw
There,
a little bit of it though,
there
but I
was
don't remember.
there was nothing I heard about Sting coming out, and when that crow came on the thing, I was like, oh my god. And I don't care how old Sting is, he's Sting, and the fact that he's in a WWE ring, which he probably should have been there 10 years earlier.
Wrestling
Um,
the Undertaker.
yeah, he just should have been, and he just thought he didn't want to risk it. And just seeing him there was unbelievable. And that Triple H, just his reaction, how the match goes down. Yeah, that's everything you wanted. 2014, and I think the mid 2010s were really good years for Survivor Series. But this one takes the cake, probably for the decade, I would say. But that kind of goes into the next one, which I think is honestly a good pick too. Goldberg beats Brock Lesnar 2016, and I would rank this high too because I remember I had posted on Facebook, how are they going to do this? I remember thinking, how are they going to have Goldberg wrestle a match? I never thought they would have him beat Lesnar that fast. And when you do stuff like that and you shock the audience, this was a good shock because then it was like, how is Lesnar going to respond? But like, I I like Goldberg. I know a lot of people have criticisms, but I think Goldberg does what Goldberg needs to do. Do you need to beat the Fiend? Probably not. But this particular one, you have a legend return, and he takes out Brock Lesnar, the biggest. It didn't hurt Brock. It really didn't. And even if it was just, it was like shock and disbelief to what they did. And I have to say, I loved it. At first, I was a little like, whoa, I can't believe they did that. And then the lead up to Mania, and they had maybe one of the best 10-minute matches I've seen. Just two guys beating the hell out of each other. I know Justin's rolling his eyes. I don't think Goldberg. I think a lot of people like to hate Goldberg because he has been limited, but this is him excelling. I'll let you go, Justin.
No.
No, go for it.
My face tells it all. I don't like Goldberg. I don't like this moment. I mean, it was a waste of a moment.
But you didn't live in the 90s either.
I didn't, but I feel okay. So I don't want to say. You know what? I'm just gonna say.
You can have an opinion.
It was cool to see. It was cool to see Goldberg come back, but it was overplayed after like 2 months. I'm like, okay, it's nothing special now. Get him off my TV. Like, I don't want to see it. Yeah, sure. Like he beat Goldberg. He beat Lesnar in what, like 12 seconds. But
something like, I don't know what it might have been a minute.
I mean, it was a cool moment, but does it deserve to be in top 10? Not in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay, that's fair.
Because if I'm going back to Survivor Series, I'm not like, bro. I'm not gonna talk to my friends, bro. You remember when Goldberg beat Brock Lesnar in 16 seconds? That was crazy. I mean, to people who've been watching wrestling in the 90s, sure, growing up watching Goldberg, seeing him come back beating this top guy in the company in X amount of seconds, fine, it was cool for them. But for me, it was like, oh, all right, well, that's it. Like, we just waited 3 hours for this match, and it's going to end in 16 seconds. Come on. So,
fair point. Kendall.
I think that's the reason why you waited 3 hours just for it to end in 16 seconds. Sometimes you wait 3 hours to end in 16 seconds in different aspects of life, but it was a real shocker that he beat Brock in like you said, 16 seconds, however long it was, right? So I would put it top 10 just off the shock factor alone. That like, okay, he knocked Brock down the peg. Because, like, 2016, Brock was a beast. Like, this was like, I didn't watch early Brock. I wasn't there for early Brock. 2 years he was there. Which, again, I can't believe he did all that in 2 years. I was like 2012 Brock. So, 2012 through 2016, Brock was a animal, like a beast. He was really his name, a beast incarnate. And you have somebody like Goldberg, who again, 3 hours the last 16 seconds is crazy. But you had Brock be knocked down a peg. So, yeah, it was really shocker.
And there's a good story to be told there, is that Goldberg hadn't wrestled in 13 years. Or no, maybe longer than that. Maybe, yeah, 13. I don't know. 13, we'll say 13. The whole story is kind of Lesnar underestimated what he could do. And then you got Goldberg had to get himself in shape really good to look the way that he does. But that was a Goldberg style match. And back in the 90s, you wanted to see Goldberg come out and clean somebody's clock. Right. And I know a lot of the issues they had with him being champion is they long term, they couldn't get a lot out of him. He was limited. But I thought for this, it was just a very shocking moment. Yeah, whenever you got to go, Justin, that's fine. So I found it very enjoyable. It's going to take us to number 5. HBK wins the second Elimination Chamber, wins the world title. Justin, how do you feel about this moment?
This was the second chamber? I thought it was the first one. When was the first one?
Oh, you're right. This is the first one. I'm an idiot. Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, this one is no question. First ever elimination chamber. Who better to have win than the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Obviously it was the moment that. So to me, this is the moment that people will go back and be like, hey, first ever chamber match. Survivor Series 2002. Like people are gonna remember that. So obviously this was a moment that even because I watched this match a few times. Great match. Don't ask me who Shawn Michaels beat to win because I don't remember that, but I do remember Shawn Michaels wins. But definitely number 5 for sure. Excellent moment.
Kendall.
I'm going to end this. I'm going to end this debate right now because I see it every day on Twitter. Shawn Michaels is better than Bret Hart. But moving on, Shawn winning the first elimination chamber and being world champion was great. I'm like Justin. Don't ask me who he beat because I don't know.
It's
But it
probably
was a
Triple
great
H.
feat,
Yeah, I
first
think it was.
chamber, which led to a long-lasting thing about chambers, matches of chambers.
Yeah, I want to say he probably pinned Triple H. I remember I did watch this one live. I think Rob Van Dam was in the match. I think Booker T was in the match. I think Kane. Let me see here. Yeah, he pinned Triple H last. Jericho was in it. So everybody in there is pretty much a Hall of Famer or will be when they retire. But I have to say, like living in this time period when Shawn Michaels in 1998, everything said that Shawn Mike, it's kind of like the first time this happened because now you have Edge and Daniel Bryan and Paige. They've all wrestled. You were told that Shawn Michaels was never going to wrestle again.
Because he has something in his back, right?
His back when he took that spot in the casket match at Royal Rumble 98. I mean, he was in a lot of pain and substance abuse issues plagued his life. But for him to, now that backstory, how he went into recovery and he was sober at this point and what a magical moment ending, you wanted Shawn Michaels. He never got the title again because I don't think he wanted it.
You just
But
wanted him to win. You wanted him to win. Like you wanted him to have the matches we know he could have against top tier people and have the moments that again we know we wanted to see.
I think Shawn Michaels' second run is almost better matches wise than his first run, which is kind of crazy to think about.
It's not. Cause okay, so obviously I was
Crazy
gonna
in the sense of how hurt he was.
right. So I remember very little his matches from the beginning. I know obviously his ladder match at WrestleMania 10 against Razor Ramon for the IC title, right? If I'm not mistaken. Obviously other matches. I mean, it's sad to think like that's the only match I can think of off the top of my head because that is one of the best matches of all time.
Montreal
Right?
Screwjob.
Montreal Screwjob. Yeah, thank you very much. Obviously another one. Him against Bret Hart.
Iron Man match, Mick Foley match, Vader match. He did a good job as
I
champion.
Yeah.
He doesn't
I
get a lot of
sound
credit for that.
I sound stupid when
Speaking
I
of the
say
Montreal Screwjob, Brett Screw Brett. So
He had matches with Jeff Jarrett that were great. The rematch with Ramon, like he had great matches, but then he came back and he was something even better.
I remember them. I mean, okay, so my bad. I do remember those matches. Sorry, my
Yeah.
bad.
Well, it's tough off the top of your head sometimes.
Right, but his first run is always gonna live forever. But his second run, like if he never came back, never recovered, never would have wrestled again, we wouldn't have gotten, the DX reunion. We never gotten, Triple H versus Shawn Michaels at, all these, so SummerSlam, if I'm not mistaken. Never would have gotten Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker at 25 and 26, and never would have gotten, obviously all these moments. My
Angle,
favorite.
Jericho.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like one of my favorite all time. This is going off topic. You talk about Shawn Michaels. One of my favorite matches of all time with Shawn Michaels is him versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 21. I mean,
Yes.
what a match! It's and him versus Sheldon Benjamin in Raw until that same year.
Cena. Two
Cena,
matches with
right,
Cena that were
right.
great.
Obviously we're going off topic here, but Shawn Michaels, he's one of the best. He's a GOAT. One of the top, Mount Rushmore for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Sean will never. You can never say Sean was the draw that Austin was, The Rock was, Hogan was. But you can say, man, when that guy, when you
Yeah,
gave him a big
he's
match,
up there. I don't know where to rank him on my top 10 because if you ask me about top 10, like 7 days, it's 7 days in the week. If you ask me all 7 days, I'm gonna give you 7 different top tens. So,
Right. Yeah.
but it just
Exactly.
yeah,
depends on the
Exactly.
day. 5 days out of those seven, Shawn Michaels is gonna be in there.
yeah,
100%. That goes for. I love how you said that because that's how wrestling is. Like it's gonna change, but at least again, like you said, 5 of those 7 days, two two wrestlers are gonna be on that list every single day. And Shawn Michaels is one of them. It goes with your favorite matches of all time. Top 10 matches out of the 7 days, five
Right.
times, two
So
matches are gonna be on there.
it's like I said, it just depends on the day. But like you said, at least 2 to 3 wrestlers are my 3 wrestlers. If you ask my top 10 wrestlers, that are going to stay on there for sure. Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, and the man that won the '04 Royal Rumble. Fake it.
yeah. I mean, there's a reason that Shawn Michaels' nickname was the Showstopper, right? There's a reason he got that title. There's a reason he's called Mr. WrestleMania. So did Sean draw the money that again, his character was still good, but not everybody's Stone Cold Steve Austin, not everybody's Hulk Hogan. But bell to bell, yeah, he's up there. And he did draw. And Sean missed 98, 99. Okay, those are 2 years wrestling. It totally exploded in the Monday Night War. Like WWE didn't even start winning the ratings until after Sean was hurt.
Can you
So he
imagine
never
if
even
he
got
was there? It was just
it,
crazy.
they were
Mhm.
stacked. You never got that Shawn Michaels Rock match. I mean,
Right.
imagine those two on the mic together, and Shawn Michaels on the mic was way better before recovery from substance abuse. But Sean in the time he feuded with Hogan, he let it rip, which he didn't really want to do anymore. But yeah, Sean, you could debate that he's on the Mount Rushmore. He's definitely on a lot of lists. He's going to be a top 5 guy. But he got hurt and he missed a really vital part of the biggest boom in wrestling. But you don't get to that biggest boom in wrestling without him, because he's the one that put over Austin, and Austin doesn't have that moment at WrestleMania if you didn't have the top heel in the company wrestling him.
Hmm.
Okay, because Sean was the top heel in that company, and he put over Austin, and the Austin era took off after that. So yeah, this is just a feel good moment. No matter what happened in that match, Sean walking out with the world title, the confetti coming down, that's just a feel good moment. It has to be in the top 10.
Right. 100%.
Let's get into another one to the mid 2000s. I thought this was high. Sheamus cashes in 2014. Roman wins the title. Roman was not accepted by the audience as a babyface at this point, so a lot of people were happy Sheamus came out because of the hatred for Roman. But I don't know if this is something I
I
would
I
go back
wouldn't
and
e-
watch.
I wouldn't even put this in my top 100, dude. Like, again, who's gonna
Yeah,
go
this
back
is
and say
something like top 20, maybe. Top 10, no.
like
No.
who's
Not
you
at
know
all.
sorry to cut you off, Kendall, but like who's gonna go back and be like, oh, yo, you remember when Sheamus cashed in against Roman in Survivor Series? No, no, I do not. And this was 2015.
Was it 2015? You're right. It is 2015. I apologize. Yes, I put the
All
wrong
right,
date. Yeah. So
all right.
2015.
Yeah,
Uh,
you got your authority mixed in with these two.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, I'm going to just piggyback what you guys are saying. It's not something I go back and watch or care too much about.
I completely
Um, I,
forgot about this.
I think they just wanted to put a cash in on the list. And I don't think there's many cash ins at Survivor Series that I can think of, or if
No,
there's any others.
I don't think
Um,
so.
all right. We're going to get into the most controversial moment in professional wrestling history. 1997 Montreal Screwjob. Uh,
Well,
Kendall,
I
what do you? Yeah,
well, sorry, Kendall, you go first.
It's like I said earlier. Sean is better than Brett. Brett school Brett. So yeah, but number 3, solid. That's all I gotta say.
What he said again. I was 3, so I don't remember much at all. But obviously, I went back and watched it. You know, pushing 30 soon. So yeah, of course, I watched it. It's crazy. Crazy to think of. Excuse me, I'm like hiccuping. I can't imagine because obviously you were around Dan watching this. So what was your mindset watching this? Because let's hear
So,
about that.
so full disclosure, I didn't watch this live. I don't
Okay.
know, for whatever reason, I don't think my parents allowed us to order this, and it probably we were in trouble or something because we order pay-per-views all the time. So I probably had done something where I wasn't allowed to watch or wasn't able to order it that night. But I did watch Raw the next night and was very, very confused on what the hell was going on. And all of a sudden, it's like Bret Hart's out of the company, and I was like, "What?" Because again, I don't remember reading like I might not have been reading dirt sheets in '97. I might have started in like '98 because I didn't know Bret Hart's contract was coming up. And then I got the full story a year later when I think it was A&E put out Wrestling with Shadows. So when Vince McMahon came out in that interview with Jim Ross and said Bret screwed Bret, I was like still a little confused, and then I started going like, "Oh my god, that wasn't part of the show." Because WCW opened up that next night because WCW would start at 8, and then
Mhm.
I'd put on Raw, and they all came out with Canadian flags, and I was like, "So Bret Hart's going to WCW? Like what is
Right.
going
It's
what
hard.
is
Yeah.
going on?" So I had to really piece together what happened, and I had to actually like read about it in like Pro Wrestling Illustrated, like what the hell happened. And then Shawn Michaels was mocking Bret Hart a few weeks ago. He had that little wrestler come out, and then Jim Neidhart was supposed to join DX, and they wouldn't let him. And so they were just burying on Bret Hart at that time. And then once I learned the whole story, I was like, "Holy crap! I've never seen anything in wrestling to that point that ever went against what the story was going on." You never seen the cameras pulled back like that. And then when I saw
Right.
Wrestling with Shadows, I'll tell you this. When I was a kid, I was fully on. Once I watched that, I was like, he did screw him. He made him a promise. He told him they wouldn't do this, and they did this to him.
Right.
Like, that put every wrestling fan in Bret Hart's corner. So if you think of Survivor Series, you're always going to think about this moment because this has never happened in our lifetime in WWF. That they literally went against what was written, and they told another wrestler that this is going to be the finish, and then they went against the finish. So it's something we may never happen again because they've really pulled back the layers. But you listen to Bret, he thinks wrestling, like he talks about wrestling like it's real. Like, I lost that match. Like, I actually lost that match. And it was real to him.
He did. Yeah.
And yeah, it's just gonna be one of those moments. I don't think you'll ever see anything like that again. I
No.
think it's sad that, not sad, but like WWF, obviously the next year they do that similar thing. But like when TNA did a screw job with Angle, I was like, you can't do this type of stuff. Like, it
Right.
happened. Let's let it move on. But shocking stuff. It took me a little bit. It took a lot of kids. Adults probably knew what was going on, but kids, at
They
least
didn't
for
know.
this kid, we didn't know what the hell was going on. And to hear Bret Hart was going to WCW was like, what? Because Bret Hart was, when Hogan left, Bret Hart was the franchise guy of the World Wrestling Federation. By far, their number one guy. And you never thought he could leave. And then when it actually happened, and then you find out all the other stuff, it was just like, there's so much more to wrestling than we ever would have known,
Right. Oh yeah.
you know. But this next one, I think Justin Del Rio is going to like this one a lot. I'll let him go
Uh-oh.
because he was there. They put the Bloodline wins War Games 2022 last year. We were there.
Wow. I mean, what else could be said about this War Games match? I mean, again, obviously, I'm not just saying that because we were there. Even if I was at home watching it, man, I mean, that whole story going in to that match was excellent. I mean, you had the Bloodline on top. You had Kevin Owens and Sammy feuding with each other. It was just very, very well done match. And who can forget the most wholesome moment of the night when Jay finally accepted Sami Zayn as part of the Bloodline and
That
embraced him with a hug. That place
place
went
blew
nuts.
up.
That biggest pop of the night when Jay hugged him. That place went nuts. I never heard a pop that loud before for just that. Obviously I was there, and and I don't remember every single thing of that night because number one, There was 30,000 people there. It was a stacked card, and I was all the way up with Dylan and Johnny. Like we were like very last row behind the wall, like in the 300s. So we like
Everybody's doing this.
everyone did this, but the wrestlers looked like this.
Yeah.
I had to use my phone to zoom in to see what was going on because I couldn't see nothing. Because you had the banners on top of the ceiling. I didn't see the jumbotron, so my last resort was just using my phone to, kind of as like a magnifying glass in a way to see
There's
what was
definitely
going on.
there's definitely restricted seating in the garden. That's always been a problem
Yeah,
there.
but I was at the TD Garden. I mean, that's something that is no one could take away from me.
Absolutely, and just all the fans like made the moment even better.
Beautiful, a beautiful arena too. I know that's random, but it's such a nice arena. It's very, very cool. It's very cool to be there. Huge and fucking, excuse me, sorry, freaking massive arena.
Oh yeah, garden. I mean, I once you go to a WrestleMania and be like,
Where do I go?
like when I went to MetLife, like Gillette is nothing compared to MetLife Stadium. Like it's crazy. But Kendall, what were your thoughts on this? I mean, this might have been one of the best moments of 2022.
100%.
Yeah, I think it was good for a lot of reasons. Obviously, you had, like I said, Sammy and KO. Um, their little relationship, Jay, Bloodline, all that good stuff. With the Bloodline winning, um, didn't Sammy turn on this night, or is that another night? I
No,
forget.
Sammy proved his loyalty to the bloodline.
Yeah, he turned on KO that night.
Okay, I thought it was when he hit Roman with the steel chair.
That
That
was the
must have
Rumble.
been the.
Like 2 months later.
That was at the
I was
Rumble.
about to say, yeah, that must have been months later. But he proved his loyalty, and now they've won. They're separated now. But Sammy saved the bloodline. He did, because the bloodline was getting still at this point. No matter what these Roman Reigns stands and bloodline stands want to say, it was getting stale, and Sammy saved it.
Right now, it kind of is too. If we're being honest, it's like, what else can they do? Now they're just making stuff up. Now they're just doing whatever.
Yeah, Jimmy turned on Jay because he didn't want Jay to turn into Roman, even though he turned on Roman. Now he's back with Roman because he stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't overdo it. It's like let.
storylines die, and they can die on their own. The NWO died long before they shut down the NWO. And I just thinking to this moment. I mean, the when the bloodline came out, I mean, just the electricity in that building, and I mean, they're the heels, and you got the whole crowd behind them, and like just everybody doing this, and Sammy made that story after a while. He made it must see TV. That's that's a time where it's like, yeah, I want the bloodline to open every week, and I want to see these interactions with these guys because the chemistry and the thing about the whole bloodline thing at this point, Sammy, Jay, Jimmy, Roman, you're watching this and going, these guys are having fun. They're on TV having. It looks like just guys having fun with their friends
Right,
in the
exactly.
storyline, and that type of stuff just makes for good television. And but that moment was unbelievable. I was my brother got us pretty good tickets, so I mean we were just like in the first row of a balcony, so like weren't in the like lower section, but
Mm-hmm.
right there.
You
And
got
man,
good seats.
that's up there with one of my favorite wrestling moments that I've attended. And I definitely think it's in the top five. Top two feels high for me, but I'm cool with it being there. So
Yeah,
um,
it was amazing. It was incredible being there.
here's the number one moment. I thought this was interesting, but I'm down with it. Maybe not as number one, but Team WWE or WWF at the time, the World Wrestling Federation, as I like to call it, defeats the Alliance 2001. This marks kind of the end of it's winner take all, right? This match, so you knew WWF was gonna win, but it was pretty star-studded cast here. Justin, what are your thoughts on this?
I saw this match only maybe once or twice, so I don't really remember too much about it. Obviously, I knew there was a lot riding on this match for both sides. Because like you said, it's winner take all. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't this the SmackDown that had? Excuse me. The SmackDown before this pay per view was the greatest SmackDown at pay per view like ever, right?
One guy came out, knocked out the
Yeah,
other
everybody
guy.
came in. Everyone came in like vice versa. WWE, then Alliance, then back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, they coordinated that great. I mean, these are the guys we're talking about. Team WF was Undertaker, Jericho, Kane, Big Show, The Rock. Alliance was Austin, Angle, Rob Van Dam, Booker T, Shane McMahon.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's like an all-star lineup right there. If there ever is one, for that's an all-star lineup, like MLB, like just beautiful
The best of the
at
best at that point.
the time, right? Now it's like, sure, but back in 2001, like you had like the top 8 guys, top 8 or 10 guys in your lineup right there.
Who you could add, and the toughest thing about the Alliance was that they couldn't get the guys, because I mean, if you could have had like the Alliance be like Hogan, Nash, Hall, Goldberg, and whatever, I mean, that would have been crazy. They never got to do that because they pulled the trigger on this a little too early, I think. I mean, maybe wait for those contracts to expire, but they didn't do that, and that's fine. Angle rejoins the WWF in this, which was, kind of weird, but Kendall, what are your thoughts on this?
I watched this match the other day, and it was good. No deep thoughts in this. This deserved to be number one. Storyline wise, yeah. Um, Everything leading up to it, but uh, not too much to say, really.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I did like this, and I did like a lot of the pay-per-views in 2001. The only disappointment here for me, and this isn't about the actual match, DDP should have been a bigger part of the Alliance storyline, and I'm always going to feel that way. Like, imagine if you take Shane McMahon out and put in DDP. I just think the way that they brought him in as the stalker didn't pan out, and at this point, DDP is irrelevant, and you really have WWF versus WWF. I mean, it's Austin, Angle, and Shane McMahon, WWF guys. The only two that weren't in the company prior to this were Rob Van Dam and Booker T, because they booked themselves into a problem here, is that the top guys were all WWF guys, and they had to make them turn on WWF. So to me, it's not number one, because just imagine if you really had a Survivor Series match, WCW versus WWF.
That would be insane.
Or even, throw Rob Van Dam as the ECW guy, but it is what it is. But it was the end of it, and but I do want to talk about this real quick, and I just want to use this picture real quick here. Good old Phil, our friend Phil Brooks here. This is a lot of hype going on the internet. I mean,
this will be this will be a good segue for me to talk about. Then I gotta get going. But
yeah, no worries. We'll do this, and then if you got to jump out, we'll do quick predictions. But this picture of CM Punk just cracks me up. A lot of people on the internet. It's in Chicago.
Oh Lord.
CM Punk doesn't have a contract. That place will go nuts. I don't think it's going to happen, but I've said a lot of things aren't going to happen that have happened. Justin, thoughts on likelihood? Do you want to see it? And yeah, I guess likelihood is my first question.
I mean, it's wrestling. Anything can happen. I mean, if they bring back CM Punk, I mean, yippee. But like when CM Punk returned, and obviously when he returned in AEW, I was like, wow, no way. Like, this is very cool to see. He's back wrestling. They're gonna treat him very well there. Like, it's hopefully, I wish him nothing but the best of luck, right? Then X amount, whatever happened, X, Y, and Z, then he became a not nice person in the back. And then, so like, but I don't want to see it, to be honest with you. I mean, like, if I hear his music and he returns, I'll be like, oh, okay. Yay, whatever. Cool for the people who are there. I mean, but for me, the hype train of him being in AEW, the time he was, died very, very quickly. I mean, I kind of got sick of seeing him. I kind of got just bored.
Really?
So yeah, I mean, I just got bored. I mean, his feuds, his rivalry with MJF was awesome. I mean, I think it was last year, which is kind of crazy to think about.
It was 2
That
years ago.
was it 2 years ago.
Yeah, I saw some of my old posts about it today.
Was it 2021 where they were going
It,
back and forth?
they probably wrapped it up early 2022, but it started in 2021.
So I'm talking about their promos where CM
That's
Punk
around this.
called.
That's around this time right now.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean that was cool. I mean I love seeing that, but the hype train with CM Punk died very quickly, and I don't know why. I mean I understand why Tony Khan, TK was so high on CM Punk, but the likelihood of him returning is not obviously not that far fetched. But we'll see. We'll see tomorrow.
Kendall?
That's because Tony Khan is a bleep mark. That's why. He's a mark, okay? Hangman and your workers' rights, you can screw off. This is all your fault. If you never would have cut that promo, we would still have CM Punk. But CM Punk, you are a cancer. So do I care if he shows up or not? No, absolutely not. Because the GOAT, Randy Orton, is returning. Number one. Number two, I feel like he's burned all his bridges. Yes, he's talked to Triple H, supposedly, allegedly. I don't know what went down. Right? He could have went to go fucking. I mean, excuse me, went to go buy some Pop Tarts for all I know. But he burnt all his bridges, and like he it's. See, I'm the person where, right? I blame everybody. Like I say, Hangman. Did he have to cut that workers' rights promo? No. Did CM Punk have to retaliate the way he did? No. The Young Bucks have to be childish and immature? No. Did he have to go on that media scrum and talk about how Coco Cabana should have bacon count with his mother? No. Did Tony Khan have to be a freaking mark? No. Did Kenny Omega did whatever he did? Because I don't know what he did. He's an EVP? No. The Jungle Boy had to run this mouth about some, oh, cry me a river, real glass, cry me a river. No. Did CM Punk have to fight him? No. So I blame everybody. It's everybody's fault for CM Punk not keeping his cool, the Young Bucks and the immature EVPs for being immature. Which again, Dan, me and you talking about this all the time. I do think the Bucks set him up to get fired. I don't care what anybody says. You're not going to change my mind. The Bucks set him up to get fired. I do strongly believe that they set him up to get fired. Oh, we're not going to meet with him if with the first 6 months. We're not going to meet with him. Like, dude,
Nobody's professional in this situation.
nobody's professional.
From everything
Nobody.
I've read,
Like,
nobody was
put
professional.
on your big boy panties and meet with CM Punk. Like, put on your big boy panties. Like, you're crying and complaining, right? Jungle Boy, I'm not gonna call you stupid because I don't know you, and that's a very harsh word. Your girlfriend's hot, Anna J. She's hot, by the way, but that's besides the point. You need to listen to veterans. That CM Punk was trying to give you advice about using real glass, and you didn't want to listen, right? So
Well, I think the
you went
thing
out there to talk
too.
about some real glass. Again, did CM Punk have to pop him in his shit? No. Excuse me. That's another time I cussed. But did CM Punk have to pop him in his shit? No. But did CM Punk have to respond that way? But did Jungle Boy have to respond his way? No. It's like you said, it's immature, right? But him going back to WWE, I don't think it's gonna happen. Like I said, he burned all his bridges, and there's no need for CM Punk in WWE. They're making more money than they ever made, right? They're selling out arenas, selling out house shows, selling out like stadiums. They're making more money than they're selling out Raws and SmackDowns. Like I said, they're selling out house shows, crying out loud. Do they need him? No. Will he make a significant? Will he make a significant? Because there's never a thing called too much money. There's never too much money. But him going there to quote unquote make them money, it's like going from making 725 to 750 an hour. Not making much. It's not making that much of a change. So I don't care if he shows up. Because again, I like CM Punk. I like the Elite. Well, I like Kenny Omega, not the Bucks, because they're overrated. Um,
Yeah.
but everybody was immature. You could have handled this a whole different way. You could have cut his mic off at all out. You could have stopped him from fighting. And again, you're not going to change my mind. Y'all can clip this. I've said it, and I think it's a fact. The Young Bucks set him up to get fired when he came back. Because it's ironic, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. I'll let you go there. It's ironic that the day he got fired, you immature fucks were
No,
doing
family
laps on
show.
Collision. Victory laps on Collision. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. We are a family show, so we apologize for the language. Crayon Dude has entered the
Sorry,
chat
sorry.
here. I thought CM Punk was recently rejected by WWE. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if he's returning or whatever. I don't know who's making that decision. Obviously, now that they're owned by another company, what are they called again? Who owns WWE? What's the company name?
TKO.
TKO. I don't know if they would make a decision saying, "Hey, yeah, we want this guy." I think in the whole scheme of things, a couple things here with that is Vince McMahon has always said, you never want to screw your audience, right? So if you brought back CM Punk and then 2 months later had to fire him, the fans are going to be mad about that, right? So it may just be not worth it to bring him in. If we want, I don't really want to revisit everything that happened in AEW because it is over. But I do think that a lot of people are at fault there. The whole thing with him fighting Jungle Boy. You know, I think in CM Punk's day, that's what you did. If someone did that to you on television, is that you fight them. I don't think you can do that in wrestling anymore. Or I don't blame Tony Khan for firing him, but I have to say Tony Khan looked very ridiculous bringing him back in just playing this game of he's going to have his own show and all this. So I think for WWE, I don't know if it's about money. It's about making their audience happy, which does lead to money. But in the end, if you bring him back and then you have to fire him, I think that just makes the situation worse because who knows? I mean, he seems so rogue at this point, but AEW is also very disorganized and a very, very disorganized. There's no leadership there from what we read. We're not backstage, but it doesn't seem like there's leadership. So I'm going to say it's very unlikely, but stranger things have happened. And we'll leave it at that. Anything else? Kendall, yep. Justin's out. All right. Kendall, want to get into
No,
predictions?
that's all I gotta say. I say what I had to say about the Bucks. Kenny Punk. I don't care if he shows up. I'll give it a 15% chance he shows up. But I'm gonna watch War Games regardless because again, I think Randy Orton's the greatest of all time. This is my opinion. Um, so I'm excited. I'm more excited for Randy showing up than CM Punk,
Yeah, everybody's
and I
excited
don't
for
care
Randy.
if he shows up or not.
I mean, I hope he does, but honestly, it doesn't matter to me. Want to get into predictions real quick? We're gonna go through these real quick.
Yeah,
We got Gunther versus The Miz, Intercontinental title match. Gunther is the longest reigning Intercontinental champion of all time. Miz is going for the record for most, I think, Intercontinental titles. Very good stuff on Raw between these two. They're back and forth. Michael Cole said, Miz, do it for all the weirdos in the world. So, yeah, what do you think happens here? Are we going Gunther or Miz?
Gunther's gonna win, but I think the Miz is gonna give Gunther a he's gonna give Gunther a better match than people are expecting because I've seen on Twitter and Facebook everybody like I've cussed enough, but everybody downgrading the Miz like he's worthless, like he's the Miz is a Hall of Famer.
No doubt.
He has a hot wife. He's a reliable wrestler, and I've seen people complain about the Miz saying, and this is going to sound stupid when I say this. Oh, he wrestles too slow and too safe. Isn't that the whole point of wrestling? Is to protect your opponent? So it doesn't make sense how he wrestles too safe. Is it because he doesn't do 75 super kicks, flips, tope suicidas? He doesn't do any of that, so he's too slow and too safe. Gotcha. But Gunther's gonna win, obviously. But
Yeah.
I think that the Miz is gonna give him a match that people are gonna be like, oh my god, the Miz can actually wrestle. Yes, he can.
Yeah, and Crayon Dude has entered the chat yet again. Randy Orton greater than CM Punk. I'm not going to argue that. I love Randy Orton. Gunther will win. I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to go with Gunther as well. What I can say is they've done a good job. I know they want to get Miz. I think Miz can be a good babyface right now. I know his other runs as it hasn't been great, but I thought what they did on Raw was really excellent between Gunther and Miz. I think Gunther wins, but I think you've done a good job of getting Gunther the heel heat that he needs. Miz looks like a great babyface here. Now we got Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark for the Women's World Title. What are we thinking here, Kendall?
Rhea's gonna win. She's gonna retain. But again, I think Zoe Stark is gonna put on a better match than people are going to give her credit for. Obviously Rhea's gonna win. Um, Probably with the help of Dominic, but who cares? Because again, Eddie Guerrero's son can get off my TV because I don't care. Um, but Rhea's gonna win.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree. I think Rhea Ripley is, right now the number one women's wrestler in the world, and that includes AEW. So yeah, I don't see her losing that match. I think this is just a match that you got to have a women's title match. So now we're going to get into. We recently had a heel turn with um, Santos Escobar, and he's going to be facing well, I guess still in the LWO, Carlito. Good to see Carlito make the card. So that's good for him. I'm high on Santos Escobar, and I really don't think there's any point to having Carlito win that match. So I'm going Santos Escobar. Continue what he's doing. What do you think?
Before we got on here, right? I was watching SmackDown, and Santos and Carlito were talking in Spanish back and forth. And I tweeted this out. I said, "Shout out to Duolingo. The if you don't know what Duolingo is, it helps people learn other languages. And I've been doing that for the past 6 months to a year to do Spanish. And I understood every word they were saying in Spanish. So I want to give a huge shout out to Duolingo for helping me understand Spanish. If you ask me to speak Spanish right now, I cannot. I can't speak it, but I can, listen to it, understand what they're saying. If that makes sense. But
Sure.
I can't fully speak it right now. If that makes sense. But going to the match, Santos will win. Obviously, you gotta put the younger talent over. I'm glad to see Carlito back. Um, Former United States champion, tag team champion, all that. But yeah, love Carlito. Glad to see him back. But he's gonna lose this match.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Shout out Justin Del Rio. We appreciate you coming on anytime, my friend. Um, let's get to the women's war game here. which is Damage Control, now with Asuka on the squad against Bianca, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and is that Shotzi, I believe? Yes, Shotzi, right? Kendall, what do you got here? Who's winning this?
I have, for the second year in a row, I think, Team Bianca beating Damage Control. Like I said, it's the same storyline from last year. Team Bianca versus Team Damage Control. She needed a last member for her team. Becky stepped up. I'm not trying to, downgrade WWE, but I feel like they can do better than this. It's like you said, they don't have many women's factions. I get it, but like you're literally like bar for bar, like copying the same storyline from last year. So, but Team Bianca.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree there. Oh, Bobby William, my brother, chiming in as I'm in the picture there. Flair turn. I could see that. I mean, I would. Something cool has to happen here because I don't know. This isn't really hyped huge. I think
Right.
Damage Control. I think Damage Control wins, and I do think that because of what my other pick is going to be. But I don't know. Something's going to happen. I like that idea there, Bobby. Um, yeah, I'm not super hyped for this, but it's War Games. So, I mean, I'll be into this match, no doubt. Um, cool to see Asuka and Damage Control. So, yeah, definitely going to be a good one. And that's going to bring us to the main event, which is the men's War Games, which you have Cody Rhodes, Seth freaking Rollins, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and Randall Keith Orton versus the Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre. Pretty star-studded main event there. Kendall, who you picking here?
By the way, speaking of comments, if you want your comments seen, go to the Lit Freedom Ring page on Facebook or on
Yes.
YouTube. Dan cannot see his comments on his personal page. So if you've been commenting on Dan's personal page, please go to Let Freedom Ring YouTube with Dan Bullier on either Facebook or YouTube. So just
I know,
be
I
able to
didn't
see
even
your
say
comments.
that. Yes. Good point.
Um, but I got team. I know it's probably already too late because we're about to wrap it up. But I got Team Cody winning. You can't have Randy Orton lose on his first match back. Um, yeah, you can't have him lose on his first match back. I do think he turned heel at the end of the match because um, when Cody announced that Randy was going to be a part of the team on Monday, Jay Uso was looking like, oh my god, like, because if you don't know, 18 months ago or so, the yeah, click the like, subscribe, whatever. Um,
Do all the things.
yeah, do everything. Um, Jay Uso, along with his brother, attacked Randy, which got him injured. So Randy Orton's going to get his leg back. So I think after, not during the match, after the match, he's going to RKO Jay. Then we're going to get Randy and Jay heading to the Rumble. So there we go.
Yeah, I like that pick. This is pretty, this is pretty star-studded to me. Everybody in this match, I'm pretty much a fan of. Who JD Madonna? How does he say his name? Uh,
JD McDonough.
McDonough. Sorry, I've read that name before and I couldn't. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm very excited for this match. I think I'd love that they put War Games into this. I don't think it has the hype of the Bloodline, but man, yeah, Randy Orton's back. Um, that's enough. I mean, I've been a Randy Orton fan since he came into WWE in 2002, and I really became a fan when he was with Evolution. And he's had absolutely. I think it's fair to put him in a GOAT conversation. So really looking forward to this. I like everybody in this match. And Judgment Day's had a really good year. Um, as a stable, I think they've come to that next level that that the Bloodline was on. Maybe not quite Bloodline level, but really high up there. But Yeah, I'm going Cody, Seth, Jay, Sammy, and Randall, Keith Orton. And it's going to be so much fun. I'm really hyped for Survivor Series. But yeah, Kendall, we're going to wrap it up here because we're getting close to 11 o'clock. Where can we find you?
You can find me on all social media platforms, Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, uh, TikTok, um, Rumble, um, YouTube, not YouTube, but all social media platforms that on the sidelines P. You can find me on YouTube at on the sidelines podcast. You can find me on Floor Slappers for, Floor Slapper Sports. Say that 10 times fast. I am their head writer for their website. So anything that comes out, it's been written by me and me only. Just I get that confused. I am the head writer. I also have a show that's going to be on Floor Slappers coming up soon. Hopefully, Dan can be on a couple times. I'm going to be
Absolutely.
talking about collectibles, belts, action figures, uh, 8x10s, anything that's a collectible. Basically, the YouTube version of Most Wanted Treasures. But I'm gonna be doing that's been dead. Okay,
Yeah, we
I'm trying to get rid of my past.
the
And
FCC shut the show down, and
yeah,
we
I
didn't
shut
have
that
the
show
legal
down
we didn't have the legal
months.
we didn't have the legal team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I shut that show down months ago. But if you want to, for anybody that didn't know, Wrestling Fans on His was my first weekly show. Um, Great debates, but yeah, that show is dead. All the shows are unlisted. So if you want to watch an episode of Wrestling Fans Unhinged, I will send you the episode because unlisted you can watch the episode if I give you the link. But so Crayon Dude, if you want an episode, if you want to go back and watch it, hit me up. I will shoot you a link to to one of the shows. Um, Speaking of weekly shows, Wrestling Fans Unhinged has been remixed to the Lone Star Experience. I'll be talking about everything from the Rangers World Champs, salute, Texas Rangers World Champions, Mavericks, um, Longhorns. Even that's not DFW, but still, um, Longhorns, University of Texas at Austin, uh, SMU football. I will talk about SMU. That is Dallas.
What
Keep
about
the
Dallas
name of the show.
Jaguars?
Yeah, Mavericks. I already said Mavericks, I think, and uh, the Cowboys. I know. Me and Dan talked about this earlier. I know the Cowboys ain't beat no real team. Okay, I know we haven't beaten the real team, but yes, Luca is the goat. Just kidding. He's the best player in the NBA right now, top five. But I know the Cowboys ain't beat a real team. We ain't beat it. But if anybody else beats that team, it was a real good opponent. But if Dallas Cowboys beat the same people, oh, it's just the Commanders, it's just the Jets, it's just this, it's just that stuff. Because I'm not gonna say shit. Well, I already said shit. That shit pisses me off when people do that. Like
Or
when you
Cowboys fans?
people
They
sit
get
up there and say,
a lot of heckling.
"Oh, the Cowboys just beat the Commanders." Who cares? But
Yeah,
let's say the Patriots beat the Commanders, right? That was a real tough victory by the Patriots. But last week they were just the Commanders. So what happened from this week to? Oh my
no,
God! I'm
we
not.
get it. A lot of hate
Yeah,
for the Cowboys.
oh
We know.
Jesus!
You
Oh
got,
Lord!
you gotta get, don't try to stay off Twitter for a little bit.
Yeah, I gotta stay off Twitter because
Yeah,
that be pissing me off when people say, "Oh, y'all just beat the Commanders." Then if the Patriots beat the Commanders, that was a real tough victory.
yeah, you got
How?
Cowboys
The
Nation
double
can't
standards.
catch a break. Yeah. But
But yeah,
all right.
Lone Star Experience. Starting in the new year as well. It's gonna be starting in the new year. We're not beating the Niners. The Niners just whooped us early. What makes you think we're gonna beat the Niners? They just whooped us earlier this year. I have
Cran,
Niners. No. All
Cran
right.
dude's trying to
No.
keep it going.
But Lone Star Experience starting in December, either December or January, getting everything set up. Floor Slapper Sports website, head writer. I am the head writer of that website. Um, what else did I say? Um, Floor Slapper Sports. Uh, I will be having the podcast on there where I talk about collectibles. Hopefully, I can have Dan on to talk about his action figures. And yeah, that's all
Well,
I gotta say.
no, good. I'm glad you're doing big things, Kendall. Keep it up. Glad to have you on the show. You know, you're always welcome on the streams. But everybody out there, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy Survivor Series tomorrow. We will be back in studio on Thursday. We had the week off with the holiday, but everybody out there, keep your heads up. And until next time, let freedom ring.